Okay, so this next lesson is about squares. Squares are pretty special because they have all of the properties of a rhombus and all of the properties of a rectangle. Since rectangles and rhombi are also parallelograms, squares are considered to be a parallelogram, a rectangle, and a rhombus. So that means that they have all of those properties of a parallelogram, rectangle, and rhombus. So we're going to make a list here of all the things that are true about a um, square, and these are also in the chart that I posted on Classroom last week. Okay, so first thing is that opposite sides are parallel. You know that. Because it's a square, more specifically, all sides are congruent. That comes from the rhombus. So we can mark all four of these sides as equal. What else? We have four right angles. That means all four corners are right angles. We can put boxes here to show that. There are even more right angles in a square, and it's because the diagonals are perpendicular. Remember, perpendicular means that the lines intersect to form right angles. So in every square that you'll find, if it has the diagonals drawn in, those are all right angles also. Something else about the diagonals is that the diagonals are congruent, meaning they're all the same. Since the diagonals are congruent and they bisect each other, just like in a rectangle, that means that all four of these pieces are the same. Okay, the last thing about a square is that the diagonals are angle bisectors. And that was just like in a rhombus. And so what that means is that each corner is cut in half. And so if you think about it, if each corner is 90 degrees, cut in half would be 45. So every time you have a square, if the diagonals are drawn in, all of these little angles are 45 degrees every single time you have a square. All 8 of them are 45 degrees. So those are all 45. The ones in the middle are all 90. And so we use these properties to help us solve problems involving squares. Okay, so we have just a few examples that we're going to do. This first one involves the angles in a square. So it's asking us to just fill in all of these missing angles. Just like how we just did, it's pretty much the same as we just did in that picture. These here are 90, and then these three are all going to be 45 because they're half of 90. So 1 is 90, 2 is 90, and then 3, 4, 5 are all 45. Okay, so that's number one. We're going to do some algebra. Letter A here, we're given something about angle 1. So angle 1 is here, which is 90. So that just means that this is equal to 90 degrees. So we're going to set up 5x plus 40 equals 90. We're going to subtract 40. So we have 5x equals 50. Divide by 5. So we get x is 10. So that's what happens when you're given something for one of these middle angles. Those are all 90, so you set it equal to 90 and solve. Letter B, we are given something for angle 3. So angle 3 is here, which is 45 degrees, because in every single square, those little angles are 45. So this is equal to 45 degrees. So you're going to set up 8x plus 5 equals 45. And then we're going to solve for x. So I'm going to subtract 5. So we have 8x equals 40, and then divide by 8. So that's x. X is 5. So anytime you're given one of these little angles here, they're all 45 degrees. So you can set it equal to 45. Okay, the last example that we're going to do here, letter C, it's using the sides. So we're given that AD is 3x minus 6 and AB is 2x plus 7. Now all sides of a square are equal, so we would just set these equal to each other. 2x plus 7 equals 3x minus 6, and then solve. So I'm going to bring the x's on the same side. And now bring this negative 6 over to the left. So we have x equals 13. Okay, so those are all the examples I'm going to do because the squares are pretty basic. One other thing that might come up in the practice is they might give you something for like these little pieces. Remember that in a square, all four of them are equal. So just keep that in mind when you're doing your practice. And you can just let us know if you have a question about anything, or you can join our Zoom session, which is going to be at 11:30 today. All right, thanks so much. Have a great day, guys.